Walk Smart, digitally rendered by Noah Layton. Between the hours of 8 a.m. and 5 p.m., Ohio State's campus is crawling with hordes of students and staff. With over 60,000 people on campus at any given day, it is expected that the hustle and bustle will be at least slightly overwhelming. There is a large minority of us that are simply prone to be late. Everywhere we go, it becomes clear that 5 minutes past the expected arrival time will be the arrival time. On a campus as crowded as Ohio State, sometimes the foot traffic can add dreadful minutes to our arrival time. This being said, however, if one becomes efficient at navigating around the crowds during campus rush hour, there is a chance that this inconvenience could be managed. On the other hand, if one has a physical impairment or fear of crowds, knowing the best accessible routes through campus is a matter of necessity. Luckily, the quickest way around campus also happens to be the most accessible. My goal is to map out the most direct and crowd-free route from North Campus, starting at Lane Ave, to the South Oval, since most of the classrooms are located between those two landmarks. So we'll start at the beginning at Lane Avenue. For the sake of convenience, we will begin on the corner of Lane and Neal. You're going to walk south. You'll be walking towards the inside of campus. In this picture, a sidewalk is visible that follows a road. Also visible are red brick buildings with green roofs. However, for this route, the sidewalk should be followed, not the street, and you can see the red arrow pointing south. Next, you should cross Woodruff Street, using the crosswalk, which is much faster than having to wait for traffic, since all cars must stop for pedestrians crossing. It is also equipped with sidewalk bumps to indicate potential hazards ahead. After you cross the street, you should head to the left. And as you can see, the red arrows point south and then taking a left on the next sidewalk across the crosswalk. In this picture, the sidewalk is intersected by a street. At this intersection, a crosswalk is shown to walk across while a building and 3 trees sit at the other side of the street. After walking a few more meters, you should turn right, walking up the curved sidewalk, and right again to walk parallel to the building on your left. In this picture, a curved sidewalk is shown that straightens out with a sharp right turn a few meters later. There are trees on either side of the curved sidewalk. A building that is primarily made up of windows runs to the left of the straight portion of the sidewalk ahead. At the end of this sidewalk lies another crosswalk, also equipped with sidewalk bumps. Cross the street and continue to walk straight south through the 2 buildings shown, until you dead end at the 18th Library. In this picture, a crosswalk is shown along with intersecting roads, one heading north to south, the other east to west. The road heading south is straight ahead and lies in between 2 buildings. On the right, there is also a parking lot with a few cars parked in it. In the distance, the sidewalks dead end at another building. All 3 buildings are red brick. At 18th Street, you should veer right towards the Mathematics Building and walk south on the sidewalk across the street, still heading south. This photo shows 4 brick buildings and a street in between 2 sidewalks. The sidewalk forks in 2 directions. You should veer to the right. This picture shows a sidewalk that splits in 2 directions with trees and red brick buildings in the distance. There is also grass surrounding the sidewalks. At the end of the sidewalk, there is another crosswalk that must be crossed as you head towards the South Oval. This picture shows a brick sidewalk that intersects with the road. Ahead, the sidewalk moves towards a lot of trees and 2 more red brick buildings on either side. Walk down the sidewalk towards the oval. This picture shows a concrete slab sidewalk with a building to the left and park benches on the right. There are trees on either side of the sidewalk, and in the distance are lamp posts, along with a lot more trees and leaves on the ground. Keep walking straight on the sidewalk until you reach a three-way intersection of sidewalks. This picture shows a three-way intersection of sidewalks, a lot of trees, and a fence in the distance. At this intersection, veer to the left, towards the fence line. This picture shows a concrete slab sidewalk that veers to the left. On the right side, there are trees and grass. On the left, further down the sidewalk, there's a silver chain link fence line along with lamp posts. At the end of this sidewalk, continue straight until you reach the south oval. This picture shows a sidewalk next to a road that runs in between two more buildings. The park bench sits on the sidewalk to the right. The buildings are stone, and ahead are trees and a hill going down. For these next two slides, they will show the most inaccessible parts of this particular route. Unfortunately, the south oval sits lower than the oval. Therefore, there are two hills that lead down towards the oval. While the first, which is what you are looking at now, is steeper, the second, which is on the next slide, is curvy. While the first has a railing, neither really have the means to slow down, if one is wheelchair bound or on crutches, such as periodic flat spaces to slight the extent of the slope. So in this picture, shows a sidewalk sloped downward in between two patches of grass. On the right side of the sidewalk, there is a chrome railing. There are trees and more grass at the bottom of the hill. In this picture, it shows a curvy sidewalk that also slopes downwards. On the right side of the sidewalk, there is a pine tree, while on the left is a series of parking signs as well as grass. At the bottom of the hill, there is a concrete circle with a stand covered by an umbrella. This walk is by far the most accessible route from one side of campus to the next. Not only is it the least dense with traffic, it is also comprehensible and simple. All sidewalks are equipped with sidewalk bumps and crosswalks. Also, there is no need to worry about traffic lights and cars. It is without a doubt the quickest way to get through campus.